Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling something truly monumental, the Skanda Purana. And when we say monumental,
We really mean it. It's the largest of the Mahapuranas. Over 81,000 verses. It's just vast.
an entire library in one scripture, practically.
Absolutely. And, for our listeners, it's important to grasp up front. Purana might make you think just of old stories, mythology, right?
Yeah, typically.
But the Skanda Purana,
No.
it's so much more. It's like a spiritual and cultural architecture.
Mhm.
You've got the essence of Lord Kartikeya, the sacred geography of India, cosmic principles. It's incredibly comprehensive.
Right. So, way beyond just myths, we're looking at Dharma, how to live righteously, devotion, these epic cosmic battles, where temples came from, how the universe evolves, even yogic wisdom.
Exactly. And right at the center of it all is Lord Skanda, or Kartikeya, son of Shiva and Parvati, the divine general of the Devas.
Okay, so with something this huge, the obvious question is, how do you even start to unpack it?
That's precisely our goal today. We want to pull out some key insights, the really illuminating bits from this massive text, make it connect with your own quest for knowledge.
Yeah.
Without feeling completely swamped by the sheer volume.
Sounds like a plan. So, okay, this structure, 81,000 plus verses. How is it actually organized? What are the main parts?
It's broken down into 7 main sections. They're called khandas.
Okay.
There's a Maheshwara Khanda, Vaishnava Khanda, Brahma Khanda, Kasi Khanda, Avanti Khanda, Nagara Khanda, and the Prabhasa Khanda. 7 of them.
7, wow. Each one must be pretty substantial on its own.
Oh, definitely. Think of them as like different wings of a huge palace. Each one holds a specific type of knowledge or focus.
Can you give us a quick flavor? Like, what does the Maheshwara Khanda cover versus, say, the Kasi Khanda?
Sure. So the Maheshwara Khanda, as the name suggests, focuses heavily on Lord Shiva, his forms, his stories. Deep insights there. Then the Kasi Khanda dives deep into Varanasi Kashi. Its sacred history, its spiritual energy, why it's so important. And others explore, the origins of different temples, guides for pilgrimages, the Yatra's principles for ethical living, instructions for meditation, rituals.
Wow.
And woven through it all, naturally, are the stories, the leelas, of Lord Skanda himself.
So it really does sound like a roadmap, both for sacred places and for inner growth.
Precisely. It's structured intentionally that way. If you're trying to understand these complex ideas, Dharma, devotion, sacred sites, it's not just scattered bits. The khandas bring it together, help build a more holistic picture. It's like a framework.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's zoom in on the main figure then, Lord Skanda. His origin. It involves a spark from Shiva, right? Something fiery.
Yes, and the symbolism there is really key. He literally emerges from this incredibly powerful, fiery spark from Shiva's third eye. And his whole purpose for being born was to defeat this demon, Tarakasura, who was causing major cosmic imbalance.
Right, Tarkasura.
And that fiery birth connects Skanda directly to what's called Agni Tattva.
Agni Tattva. That's the fire element, isn't it? What's the significance?
Think of it as, the energy of pure will, transformative power, courage. Skanda embodies all of that.
Okay.
But his birth is even more unique. That single spark splits into 6. 6 sparks.
6.
Yes. And they were nurtured by the 6 Kritika stars, the Pleiades. That's why he has names like Shanmukha or Shadana.
The 6-faced one. That's such a striking image. Is there a meaning behind the 6 faces?
Oh, absolutely. Each face is said to represent a different higher faculty of consciousness, like different angles of divine wisdom and power.
Interesting.
And his weapon, the spear, the vel, that's also deeply symbolic.
What does the vel represent?
It signifies piercing awareness, that sharp, focused insight that just cuts through ignorance and illusion. Destroys it.
So he's much more than just a warrior figure then. He's linked to wisdom, to knowing.
Exactly. He's presented as truly multidimensional. Yes, a powerful warrior, but also a profound yogi, a jnani, an enlightened knower, and a staunch protector of Dharma, of cosmic order.
That really resonates with the idea of seeking thorough knowledge. He kind of embodies that blend of strength and deep understanding.
Precisely. He represents that synthesis perfectly.
Okay, so we have this divine warrior, born of fire, meant to defeat Tarakasura. Tell us more about this demon and why that battle is so important.
Well, the fight between Skanda and Tarakasura, it's more than just a story about a battle. It's seen as a metaphysical victory, a conquest over darkness, essentially.
Metaphysical. How so?
Taraka, in this context, he isn't just some monster. He symbolizes the ego.
The ego. Okay, that's relatable.
Exactly. That powerful, slippery, often blinding force within us.
So Skanda beating Taraka is like a metaphor for us overcoming our own ego.
That's the core message. Skanda's victory shows that even our deepest inner obstacles, our own Tarakasuras, can be overcome. It takes discipline, courage, and grace. That ancient battle mirrors the inner struggles we all face.
That's a powerful connection. And his mount, the peacock, I remember reading about that. Does it have symbolism too?
It does, yes. The peacock, his vahana, is this gorgeous symbol of victory over pride and vanity.
Pride and vanity, key parts of the ego, right?
Exactly. So the peacock, which can sometimes represent that kind of showiness, being the vehicle for the one who conquered the ego, it's a beautiful, almost paradoxical image.
So bring this back to the listener. What's the real takeaway?
The message, I think, is quite empowering. The Purana suggests through this story that every single one of us has the potential to be a Skanda in the making. You have the capacity within you to conquer your own internal Tarakasuras, those ego patterns, those inner blocks that hold you back.
I like that, Skanda in the making. Now, shifting gears a bit, the Skanda Purana is famous for its incredibly detailed descriptions of sacred places in India, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That's one of its standout features. It's incredibly comprehensive, exhaustive even, in how it describes sacred sites across the subcontinent, temples, pilgrimage routes. It goes into immense detail.
Can you give us some examples? Which places feature prominently?
Certainly. You find really extensive sections on Kashi, which is Varanasi, Ujjain, Kanchipuram, Jagannath Puri, and honestly countless others. And it's not just listing them. It often tells you their origin stories, the specific deities linked to them, the unique benefits of visiting. It really grounds the spiritual teachings in tangible places.
So they aren't just dots on a map in the Purana's view, there's something deeper.
Definitely. The way the Purana talks about them, they're seen almost as cosmic energy centers. Like chakras, but on the earth itself. Each place is believed to hold specific vibrations, subtle energies.
Wow. Cosmic chakras on the earth grid. That's a fascinating concept.
Isn't it? They're presented as focal points for spiritual energy, for transformation.
And the act of going there, the pilgrimage or Tirthayatra, what does the Purana say about that?
It teaches that making these journeys with real devotion is a very powerful way to purify your karma, to wash away those past impressions, and also to awaken the soul's potential, which might be lying dormant.
So it's an active engagement, not just passive sightseeing.
Exactly. It's seen as something that can genuinely speed up your spiritual growth. For anyone seeking knowledge, thoroughly but also efficiently, the Purana offers this incredible resource on sacred geography, explaining the why behind these ancient pilgrimage traditions.
That's really interesting. Now, something else that caught my eye was Skanda as a teacher. Even teaching his own father, Shiva, that seems unusual.
It is quite remarkable, isn't it? And particularly revered in South India, where he's known as Swaminatha.
Swaminatha.
Which literally means something like the Lord of the Swami, and the Swami here is Shiva. It refers to a specific famous episode.
The one about the meaning of Om. Tell us about that.
That's the one. So the story goes that Shiva himself wanted to fully understand the deepest meaning of the primordial sound Om. And he approached his son, Skanda, to teach him.
Shiva asked his son to be his teacher.
Yes, but Skanda being, divine wisdom embodied, set a condition.
Oh, what was it?
Shiva had to approach him not as a father, but as a genuine student. Humbly, with sincere curiosity.
Wow. Shiva, the Supreme Lord, becoming a student to his son. That really flips expectations.
It absolutely does, and Shiva agrees, embodying the perfect disciple. Skanda then explains that Om is the very essence, the foundation of all the Vedas, all sacred knowledge.
So what's the deeper lesson there, according to the Purana?
It's a powerful point about what makes a true guru, a true teacher. The authority comes from pure knowledge, from that divine transmission, not from age or status or even family ties. The fact that Skanda, the son, teaches Shiva, the father in God. It's a surprising detail that really drives that principle home. Knowledge is supreme.
That definitely challenges conventional thinking. Now, the Purana is also full of stories about devotees, right? People putting these teachings into practice.
Yes, exactly. And these stories are fantastic because they show the teachings in action. Take King Vasu, for example.
Okay, King Vasu, what happened with him?
He'd fallen from grace, spiritually speaking, because of a curse. But he undertook a pilgrimage to Kashi, following the specific guidance given in the Skanda Purana. And through that dedicated practice, he regained his spiritual clarity and eventually achieved liberation. It shows the text isn't just theory, it's a practical guide.
A real-world application. Are there other stories that show the power of devotion specifically?
There's a really touching story about a woman named Savitri, a different Savitri than the famous one from the Mahabharata, mind you.
Okay.
This Savitri, through her intense prayer and devotion to Lord Skanda at just a simple forest shrine, she actually managed to save her husband from death.
Really, she influenced fate itself through devotion.
That's the essence of the story. It highlights the Purana's message about the immense power of sincere devotion. It can transcend limitations, even influence what seems fixed.
That's incredible. And you mentioned a ritual for young girls, too.
Yes, the Kumarika Vrat. It's a specific practice described where young, unmarried girls worship Kartikeya.
For what purpose?
The aim is to cultivate inner purity, build strength, resilience, and ultimately to attract a good, virtuous husband. It shows how the Purana connects with different life stages and aspirations.
So these stories really bring the teachings down to earth, show how devotion works in people's lives.
Precisely. They make it clear that devotion isn't just an abstract idea. It has real power and can shape your destiny. Offers a lot of hope, really.
Definitely. Okay, let's shift to some of the deeper philosophical ideas.
Yeah.
Karma, rebirth. The Skanda Purana goes into these too?
Oh, very much so. It talks in detail about karma granthas.
Karma granthas, karmic knots.
Exactly. These intricate knots of accumulated karma that bind the soul life after life, keeping us in the cycle of birth and death. It explains how our actions, thoughts, intentions create these imprints that shape our future.
And how does it suggest we untie these knots? What's the solution?
Well, it emphasizes the sacred knowledge and rituals as ways to dissolve these bonds. It really highlights sat karma.
Noble deeds.
Yes, doing good, righteous actions to create positive karma. Also, dana charity, selfless giving. That helps release attachment. And there's japa, repeating mantras, which purifies the mind. Shraddha, the ancestral rites, are important for honoring lineage and resolving karmic ties there.
Right.
And crucially, satsang, keeping the company of wise, saintly people. That really helps uplift your consciousness and understand these dynamics better.
It sounds like a very holistic approach to dealing with karma. Does it also talk about what happens after death?
It does. It gives descriptions, often symbolic, of the soul's journeys, different astral planes it might go through. It reinforces the idea that our actions have long-lasting consequences.
And the ultimate goal?
Liberation, moksha, which, the Purana says, comes through aligning yourself with truth, cultivating divine love, and through tapasya's spiritual discipline, austerity, practices that purify you.
Okay. Now, it's not all just philosophy and stories. Does it touch on practical disciplines like yoga and meditation?
Yes, it does. You find teachings related to yoga, meditation, mantras woven in. For example, it specifically mentions the Skanda Gayatri mantra.
Could you share that?
Sure, it's Om Tat Purushaya Vidmahe, Masanaya Dimahi, Tano Skanda Prachodayat. It's a mantra specifically to invoke Lord Skanda's energy and blessings.
So it gives actual practices, not just general advice.
Exactly. Now, it might not lay out yoga like, say, the Yoga Sutras systematically.
Right.
But you do find references to asanas, postures, pranayama, breath work, pratyahara, sense withdrawal, and dharana, concentration. The focus is often on inner purification, getting ready for deeper meditation.
And didn't you mention something about merging with an inner fire earlier?
Yes, connecting back to Skanda's fiery origin. The Purana often encourages meditating on and ultimately merging with the light of the inner fire, the Agni, within us. It's seen as a way to ignite your own spiritual energy, transform from within. There's even mention of something called Subramanya Yoga, a specific path of dynamic spiritual energy inspired directly by Skanda's life and power.
Subramanya Yoga. Fascinating. Now, something very relevant today. The environment. Does the Skanda Purana talk about ecological harmony?
It absolutely does, very much in line with other ancient texts like the Mahapuranas. It sees nature as inherently divine.
Not just resources.
Not at all. Mountains, rivers, animals. They're all viewed as sacred forms of divinity, each with its own spiritual significance, not just things to be used.
So a deep reverence for nature is built in.
Definitely. And it also discusses the importance of aligning ourselves with cosmic rhythms, seasonal cycles, the movement of the sun and moon, the ayana movement, solar and lunar rituals. The overall message is a clear call for humanity to live in harmony with cosmic time, with natural law.
That feels incredibly timely. So let's bring it all together. How can we apply these ancient teachings from the Skanda Purana to our lives today in the midst of, well, everything?
That's the key question, isn't it? In our modern world, with all the distractions, the information overload, Skanda's fire, the inner clarity, focus, strength, it feels more necessary than ever.
But not fire as in violence, obviously.
No, absolutely not. It's about inner clarity to cut through confusion. It's about devotion to what truly matters to you, discipline to follow through, and the fearlessness to stand for your values.
So it's about cultivating internal resilience and integrity.
Exactly. Whether you're dealing with personal challenges, striving at work, or on your spiritual path, you can consciously invoke Skanda within yourself by cultivating those qualities.
How? Practically speaking.
Standing firm, speaking your truth with courage but also compassion, protecting what you value, staying centered when things get chaotic around you.
And that image of his spear, the vel you mentioned earlier, how does that apply?
Think of the vel as your own consciousness, your ability to discern, to see clearly, to pierce through confusion, illusion, self-doubt. Sharpening that inner awareness helps you get back to your own inner truth, navigate life more wisely.
This has been incredibly rich. If you had to distill it down, what's the single most important takeaway from this deep dive into the Skanda Purana?
I'd say it's that the Skanda Purana, despite its age and size, isn't just a historical document. It's a living scripture. Its wisdom is still profoundly relevant. And crucially, its focus isn't just on external gods, but on the divine potential within each of us.
So it's an invitation inwards.
Absolutely. And maybe the most powerful thought to leave with is this: you are the warrior, the battlefield is within. The Purana encourages us to recognize our own strength and engage in those internal struggles that lead to self-mastery, wisdom, and awakening.
A really powerful note to end on. As you go about your day, maybe consider, how do these principles from the Skanda Purana resonate with your own search for knowledge, your own way of navigating life's complexities?
And perhaps one final provocative thought to ponder. Given the sheer breadth of the Skanda Purana, all the different topics, what single aspect we touched on today sparks the most curiosity in you? What might you want to explore further on your own?